The World Health Organization has described loneliness as a major public health concern. This is not good for the healthcare system. As they say, social connection also improves the healthcare system. Today on the program, we are looking at how to address loneliness and how to live better despite the fact that we are having a larger population but slimmer social connection. Good evening, I am Olasunbo Mudupe. Stay tuned, the conversation begins after this break.
What if a major health threat we've so far overlooked isn't a virus or a disease, but social disconnection? Human beings are wired to connect. From the moment we're born, our health, physical, mental, and social, depends on the relationships around us. Health isn't just the absence of disease, it's physical, mental, and social well-being. But across the globe, social disconnection is widespread. 1 in 6 people worldwide experience loneliness, and though it affects everyone, it's most common among young people and in low-income countries. Science tells us that loneliness and isolation are linked to heart disease, depression, and even early death, killing 100 people every hour. This isn't just a personal issue, it's a public health challenge, and we can do something about it. The WHO Commission on Social Connection has released a groundbreaking report. It shows what works, from national policies and community programs to digital tools when used wisely, and everyday human kindness. It offers a path forward for governments, schools, workplaces, and each of us. Because social connection isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. And by making it a global priority, we can build healthier, more resilient societies together.
The program is still Sound Health on Lagos Television. Joining us today via Zoom this evening is Dr. Leonard Okonkwo. He is a consultant clinical psychologist, hypnotherapist, and psychotherapist, and he is going to tell us why the World Health Organization has said loneliness is not good for you. Good evening, Dr. Okonkwo, and thanks for joining us.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here once again.
All right. Recently, the World Health Organization announced that loneliness is now a public health concern. What does this mean?
Yeah, what it simply means is that people are becoming more and more lonely, and that is beginning to become a distress for people, which is why it's becoming a mental health condition. Yes. You know, many times when we talk about the word loneliness, you know, people tend to see it as being alone. And that's why the concept of being lonely in the crowd also comes in. Because it's not just about being alone. You can be alone and not lonely. And you can be in the crowd and be lonely. So loneliness is more than being alone. It is having less meaningful social interaction. When you have less meaning attached to social interaction, when you have less interaction with your social environment, that is what loneliness really means, not just being alone. You can be alone, you can be on your own and not feel lonely. And then you can be in the crowd and feel lonely when, you know, around you, there's very little interaction with the social environment. All right. And in the situation where you are feeling, having less social interaction or meaningful social interaction, then the impact on you becomes stressful, which is why it's a health condition, mental health condition.
Okay, about 16% of people worldwide are living with this condition, loneliness. How do you know you are lonely and what causes it?
You feel a sense of emptiness, you feel a sense of unfulfillment, because human beings are meant to interact. to relate with other people. That's why you hear phrases like no man is an island. So we're not meant to live alone. We are interdependent on other people. So what that simply means is that when that interdependence is lacking or missing or not having, you're not getting value or appear to be meaningless, well, that's when you start to feel lonely. I
All
don't know
right.
if you get what I'm saying.
Yes, I do, Dr. Okonkwo.
Yes.
Oftentimes we hear people say, and this man that died by suicide was the happiest in the room. What happened to him? And nobody knew anything was going on with him. Must it always end this way? And does privacy also lead to, too much privacy leads to loneliness? Can you drift into loneliness
Privacy
if you are
is
too
different
private?
from loneliness. Privacy is different from loneliness.
Okay.
You can be with the crowd, you can be with people, you can be bubbling with the people and still have a measure of privacy. Privacy is having some things private to you, okay? But you can even be on a beach, all right, where, this naked, I don't know what you call them, naked beach, of course. When people are naked, means that they're exposing their privacy. You can be exposing your privacy and still feel lonely. So it's not just about being private, but then being too private, all right, might be an indication that one is living an isolated life because you are restricting too much the amount of yourself that is known by other people. So it can be an indication that there is a problem. When somebody becomes too secretive, of course, when you say someone is too secretive, he's keeping too much of his private information to himself. And of course, what that also means is that things that people are supposed to know about you, they won't know. And when there's a problem with you, they won't know. And when you are dealing with something, you deal with it alone. And if you are dealing with it alone, then the chances are high that you'll be overwhelmed. And if you're overwhelmed, that will lead to a breakdown. So being too much of privacy can be a symptom that there's a problem. In fact, that word too much already qualifies it because you're a stranger to people. People don't know you. They don't even know when there's a problem with you. And they don't know when you are being overwhelmed. And if you're overwhelmed and you're alone, then you have to fight it alone. And many times people are not able to fight it alone and they give up. That's part of the reason why we have suicide.
These days, we have people digitally busy with their devices, with some ongoing technical devices. Despite the fact that social interaction is getting slimmer, we are also experiencing more population. UNFPA says the world's population has almost exceeded 7 billion. Why are we having slimmer societal interaction? And does loneliness also lead to depression?
Yeah, loneliness can be a factor in depression. It can be a factor in depression. As a matter of fact, it is one of the symptoms of depression when someone is socially withdrawn. That itself can be a symptom of depression. But loneliness is not depression. Again, when people are busy with their devices, they are alone, but they may not be lonely. They are happy. They are, happy doing what they are doing, and that is not loneliness, okay? Because there is interaction going on that they are satisfied with. However, when someone is depressed, there will be that less need for the individual to interact, with the social world, which is a symptom of depression itself. All right, okay. But we're saying that there's a thin line between depression and loneliness. No, there are two different things, but one can be a sign of the other. When one is lonely, which is a feeling, all right, it's a condition, that itself can be depressing and can also be a symptom of depression. Yeah, we have many people, 7 billion people, but again, like I said, you can be lonely in the crowd. You are surrounded by people, everyone is there. It's like being a party of all of people of timber and caliber, and you don't belong to that class, and it's a reminder to you that you have not gotten to where you want to be, and you find yourself sitting in one quiet corner. Everything is going on, music is going, people are dancing, people are eating and whatever, but you are busy with yourself, with your low self-esteem and your mood and pessimism. Will I ever get here? Will I, So you can be in the crowd and still be very, very lonely. And there are people who are in the crowd that are depressed. And that's why sometimes people you don't expect suicide from, they are the ones that you hear from and say, this person has just taken his life. And you say, but he had everything. You can have everything and still be depressed.
All right. Medical practitioners have connected social connection to healthy lifestyle. We are also experiencing social isolation leading to loneliness. What are some of the coping strategies, as a psychologist now and hypnotherapist, what are some of the coping strategies you can, recommend to anybody experiencing social isolation, almost leading to loneliness?
Yeah, first of all, we start with the family, because family is the smallest
Unit.
unit of the society. The family unit is disintegrating. So one of the things we have to do is to go back and start to get connected with members of our families. These are people that are likely to take you for who you are, people who are not going to judge you. Well, family members may judge you, but they are people who are most likely to accept you the way you are. All right, so reconnecting with the family, first of all, is one of the coping mechanisms or one of the ways to deal with loneliness. And also building skills, all right, that will help in connection and networking. In other words, don't be an island. Don't try to live a life of seclusion. Try to come out. Well, sometimes, like it may sound very easy, but when you find out that you're having a problem doing that, rather than get to a point where it becomes overwhelming, it's better to go and see a professional, because it might, be a fallout of low self-esteem, inferiority complex, and so on. When you feel that others are higher than you, you cannot mix with them, or you have this nagging problem, and then nobody must know about it. And coming out, to meet with others, people will know about it, and that's something you don't want to. You may need the help of a professional, all right, to deal with things like that. But just learning, start with the small groups. We're talking about gadgets and so on now. Even the gadgets too are very helpful these days, because you can learn to mix with people just by, using these apps. What it means is that you are able to disconnect when you want, but you can learn how to connect with people gradually, all right, like the dating sites and so on. There are different reasons why people feel lonely. Sometimes it's they feel sometimes it's romantic, sometimes it's occupational, and so on. You must know what is responsible for your own, and seek how to deal with it. Then another thing is reading. These gadgets have made people to be more into themselves than into others. Or you have to put restriction on some of these things. You have to time yourself, know when to go out, know when to stay in. There must be times when you have to switch off your phone. Even you can be on social media, and interacting in the social media makes you not to feel that sense of loneliness, but then it keeps you from feeling the need to physically go out and see other people. So there have to be limits to some of these things. Help yourself, put some restrictions on some of these things. But like I said, the easiest way to deal with things like this is to see a mental health professional who will help you find out why you are the way you are, and provide solutions to what you can do to navigate out of that situation.
All right. In 30 seconds, Dr. Okonkwo, your final words, sir.
The population is growing, but we have to get wiser and wiser to be able to cope. All right. So let's not throw away technology, but let us also not forget where we are coming from. We have to repair certain bridges that were broken, that have put us in this place where we are. We need the family, we need our friends, we need our colleagues, we need our village, we need our society, and we also need technology.
All right,
let's not trade one for the other.
All right, we need our family, we need our village. Not this time when people are saying, my village people, my village people. All right, reconnect with the yes, reconnect with the family and see a mental health professional early enough if you are experiencing or if you're lonely, you're feeling lonely. Dr. Leonard Okonkwo, consultant, clinical psychologist, and hypnotherapist and psychotherapist. Thank you so much for sharing some beautiful coping strategies with loneliness.
Thank you.
All right, enjoy the rest of the day. Sound Health continues with trending health report from around the world. Please stay tuned. The program is still Sound Health on Lagos Television. Loneliness is a major public health concern. We need to tackle it together. Reconnect with your family, relate with your village people, and seek medical help early enough, a mental health professional for that matter. For comments and inquiries, or you have topics you'd like us to treat, please send SMS to 00358 to 6603 or follow us on social media at Lagos Television, #Sound Health. A sound health is a sound mind. Make healthy living your choice.